Hi, this is Deanne Oja, and I'm very happy to bring you this update on the COVID-19. And today, my guest would be none other than our MP, Shan. Shan is a Canadian politician who was elected to represent the newly established riding of Scarborough North in the House of Commons of Canada in 2015 in the Canadian federal election at the age of 35. A former school trustee, as well as the board chair at the Toronto District School Board, and he resigned in 2015 to run in the federal Liberal candidate. Without further ado, I would love to introduce you to my guest today, Shan.
Hi, Deanne. How are you?
I am absolutely fine, Shan.
Wonderful.
It's a pleasure to have you with us today, and I know there's so much we have to talk about.
Pleasure, and I know we're doing this at a distance because we all have to practice social distancing at this time.
Yes, that means there's no hugs this time. Absolutely, and I'm very happy to know that you are actually showing everyone that yes, we can do things remotely.
Absolutely.
And life goes on, right?
Life goes on, absolutely.
That goes on. For first, I want to thank you and your team for putting this interview together, because I know your schedule. We've rescheduled this, and it's very hectic because every day there seem to be more and more updates happening, meetings happening. So my apologies for anyone who, before was scheduled to look at this, because again, we want to get the most updated news out there possible and updates.
Right, and Deanne, we're in this together. It's a rapid evolving situation. Mm-hmm. So many Canadians, whether they are individuals or businesses, are affected across the country, and it's a time for all of us to really step back and be there for one another. That's really what this is about. Canadian spirit is resiliency and helping one another, lending a helping hand to a neighbor, to a friend, to a family member in difficult times. We're in this together, and we will make through it.
Absolutely. And what it's done is bring us back to humbleness. We keep talking about these words: compassion, humbleness, togetherness, become a village, become an army to get over this, but also be a huge support for each other, and really and truly get back to some of our family values, which is what a lot of us have lost over the years because of the hustle and bustle and the work and the stress and the economy and everything else. So we pretty much needed this break. It's unfortunate, but some people are enjoying it for the moment. But it gets a time when it gets a bit overwhelming. And what do we do with our kids, and our parents, and so forth? So we all have to do our part. And I know you're doing your part, definitely so.
Yes, and there's some great things happening on the ground. I visited a restaurant yesterday to get some takeout, and they were, in fact, mobilizing meals. They are delivering meals to the Scarborough Health Network, and this is the Sarah Bavin restaurant at Woodside Square in our riding, mm-hmm. and they're providing those hungry workers who have been working around the clock, our doctors, our nurses, our hospital, and other medical staff with meals, because they too need care of. They've been doing so much to help people on the ground, making sure that we are supporting those with medical needs, and we've got to be there for one another in these times.
Absolutely, and I also have a friend who's putting this project together where she can actually connect people safely in regards to the seniors and those with special needs. And of course, those most healthcare workers already have a clearance, right? A police clearance.
Yes.
So they can contact her as well. They want more information from me, as well as how to get to her, because we have to make sure safety is one of the most important things right now before we expose our loved ones to anyone outside there.
100%. Safety is so important, and especially right now with the cases that are coming up in the numbers that we see across Canada. What we're doing is, in our office, for example, we're welcoming people who have medical protective devices, masks, and other supplies that they would like to donate. We welcome them to bring them to our office to make sure they contact us in advance, because we are closed, but we are speaking to people by phone and helping constituents by email. But if they have anything to donate, what we will do is collect them in our office and then bring them over to the Scarborough Health Network, which has put out a call for any donations at this time. So whatever we can do, we're here to support, whether individuals or the hospital in Scarborough, here to work together and help.
I appreciate that because I also something I saw on social media today. A girlfriend said that her business and I guess her associate is actually bringing a lot of shipments of hand sanitizers and masks and asking for those who need help. So I can also connect and reach out to her and connect you as well because she's just saying just send her the information, because we don't know. We want to make sure it goes to the right people. We
Yes.
want to go to the right places,
Yes.
and not for people who just for social gatherings and so forth. That's not what we want. We want to
Right.
make sure it goes out to the right resources, and we
And
will get
so
to
I
this.
would encourage them to contact my office. We're here to facilitate those donations to our local hospital. At the same time, our federal government, through our Public Service and Procurement Canada department, we have a centralized process. So if people have supplies and other equipment that they want to donate, are working together across the country with provincial and federal partnership. We are working together with our frontline health workers, with cities and health departments to make sure that any need for emergency supplies and services are being coordinated. So I encourage them to check online through Public Service and Canada. And of course, they can call my office and we can link them up because there is quite a bit that's happening centrally through our federal government. We want to make sure that in communities where there's higher need, that we are able to support them. And of course, in general, all Canadians where there's a need. So I encourage people to contact my office or to check Service and Procurement Canada if they have medical protective devices and supplies that they'd like to donate.
I appreciate that. Maybe it's a good time now to share the contact information so we can have it on our screen right now in regards to your office. Just remember, his office is not open, but definitely his phone lines are.
Yes, absolutely. My office contact is by email, info at shanchen.com, SHAUNCHEN.com, or you can phone us at 416-321-CHEN, 416-321-CHEN, and CHEN is 2436, and people can contact us directly. There's also a federal website set up, canada.ca/coronavirus, and on that website, people can find information on latest cases dated officially through our federal website. There are resources and contacts available and information on what our government is doing. We're here to work together and to support one another during this time. So I encourage Canadians to reach out. This is a difficult time, Deanne, for people. Some people are feeling depressed. Many have lost their jobs. Businesses have shut down, and that's why our government is doing our best to put forward very important programs. We just passed through the federal parliament a bill, C-13, that is aimed to support Canadians and to support business. And through that bill, we have approved $107 billion in support for our Canadian economy, for individuals and businesses. So we're very excited about that. This is our country's emergency response plan to combat and help fight against COVID-19.
Well, let's talk about it for a moment. But one of the difficulties that we're having is the fact that we're getting so much information. And we don't know what is provincial, what is federal, who addresses which. So, but at the same time, on the federal side or the provincial side, everybody should have an idea of what's going on because the message is flowing down from the federal to the provincial to the local as well. So we'll address as much as we possibly can. And of course, we always want to make sure we're updated with the information. But there's a lot of information, there's a lot of numbers, there's a lot of stats, there's a lot of things happening, Sean. So we just make sure we want to just clarify with people what relates to who or who they should be referring to who. But at the end of the day, because when we look at the updates, we have the mayor, we have the ministers and so forth, and all the information is coming down, but who they refer to. So I'll do my best, and I know you will do your best to answer as many questions as you possibly can.
Absolutely.
And put it into context. And if for any reason you believe it's something that they need to go and refer somewhere else, please don't hesitate to say so, okay?
Of course.
To be fair to you as well. So Of course, one of the big questions for me, and as well as, you talk about last week with the government announced the $82 billion for the package, a relief package.
Right.
And on the federal side of it, can you just kind of walk me through that and some of the specifics for the individuals in there and businesses? Like, for one, how can these resources be accessible by Canadians, as well as how does business people apply for EI for those who, well, that's one, but what about those who are small businesses that don't have a salary? And I know this question has been asked, I've asked other people as well, but I want to hear it from you, as well as how do they apply for this as well?
So a number of programs that are available, and the good news is that $82 billion package that you're talking about is now $107 billion. Initially, there was a component in there, $27 billion, that was direct support to individuals and businesses, and I'll highlight a few of those in a moment, but that amount has been doubled to $52 billion, and by no means is this end of it. I think our Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau, made it very clear the other day, we continue to monitor the situation. We are here for Canadians, and Canadians ought to know that we have their back. So whether it's at the federal, provincial, or municipal level, working together this is a coordinated response where we are putting aside, the boundaries of jurisdiction to really work together. Our federal government has been able to put on the table the $107 billion. It has been approved by the Parliament and by the Senate. So I'm going to talk about some of the things that are included in that package.
Absolutely, thank you.
So with individuals, for example, we have now a Canada Emergency Response Benefit. That money will go to individuals who have lost income during this COVID-19 crisis. For 4 months, they will receive $500 a week. There are some conditions. For example, they must have earned $5,000 or more in 2009 or within the previous 12 months. But this is a streamlined benefit. Make sure we get money through to Canadians who, for example, have lost their jobs and have no income at this point. Another benefit we're increasing is the Canada Child Benefit. So that money is part of a program that already exists. But what we're doing is we're topping up that by $300 per child for fiscal year. And that way, we give more money to families that are supporting children who might have to pay a little extra now. Maybe with the at home, they need to spend a little bit more money. That money will come through the Canada Child Benefit. We're also increasing the GST tax credit. Again, this is a program that already exists, and in particular, it helps families or individuals in the low to middle income range. What we're doing is we're allowing them to receive double the maximum amount for this benefit year. So individuals would receive $400. More couples will receive $600. There's a few other measures for individuals, but I want to talk about some of the programs we have done for businesses. So, for example, with businesses, we're providing a temporary wage subsidy, and that money is basically a 10% wage subsidy that would give up to $25,000 per employer, and that money can be used to support up to $1,375 employee.
So
as
Shan,
well, we're giving...
Shan, I just want to interject here to just make some clarity, if you don't mind, before we go further.
Absolutely.
So let's go back a moment for, just to clarify, your first point was in regards to the loss of jobs. I just want to clarify, it's 2019, not 2009, just to make sure we understand that. My apologies for that. Just want to make
sure. It would have been a slip of tongue. I've gone back.
I understand that. I just want to make sure we clarify that, just to be fair. The other thing is the $300, that's per year, over the period of the year, extra for the child tax credit?
Yes, it's for this benefit year, and that will be $300 per child.
Absolutely. Now, let's go back in regards to the businesses. Now, when we talk about the business, and we're hoping there's some relief for, the businesses, for the tax credits for businesses as well. We have the GST that we have, it's HST in this province, actually. We have the HST and so forth. For the businesses, we have some relief there. Now, when you say businesses that up to the 25,000 and the over the $1,300 you mentioned there for the moment, there's so many numbers in my head right now.
Right.
Is there, when we say businesses, are we saying like 25 people or less, a small business, medium business? Does it make a difference, the size of the business? Because companies and corporations will be categorized totally differently, right?
Right. Right. So we're talking about any business in the country, right? We're talking about Canadian businesses, and they have access to that business temporary wage subsidy.
So basically, let's take me for example as a small media company, right?
Right.
So let's take me for example, that's fine. And say, okay, how could I qualify? What would I qualify for? And also in regards to time frames, when will this take effect possibly, and how long do we have to wait? I know the information is on the website possibly, and they're still putting things in place, but if you can just give us a general idea of, how long it takes, because we're not getting EI, for example, hypothetically. Right. Everybody else is. Their job is secured. Everybody else is an employee. But for businesses, we drive the economy, basically. It's not the companies and corporations. The small business, medium to small business, and so forth, are the ones who really drive the economy. So, we don't want to see the businesses go out of, close their doors. Definitely, we don't want to see that.
Absolutely.
We want to keep maintaining that, obviously. So if you can just touch a little bit on, what to expect and when to expect, because we have to pay our bills, we have to pay our rent, everything is on a standstill right now with, hopefully with a good faith that everybody will be, what should I say, considerate and compassionate about everybody's situation.
Right. So you've thrown out a few questions there. One
Yes.
is who's eligible. Secondly is how timely is this going to be? So in terms of eligibility, you're a Canadian business. It's as simple as that. You have a business number, right?
Yes.
You have a payroll account with CRA, and you're paying wages and salaries to your employees. So this program is specifically, as we discussed, it's meant to provide wage subsidy to the amounts that we specified. How do you access it? It's immediate. So this applies to wages that are paid between March 18th, 2020 to June 20th, 2020. This is a program that allows you as a business to immediately deduct from your current remittance to the federal, provincial, or territorial income taxes that you're paying to CRA. For example, if you qualify and you calculate your tax, you would then immediately reduce your remittance to the federal government, because companies are paying, as you know, Deanne, being a business, you're remitting tax to CRA. You can start to reduce those remittances immediately for the period that specified.
So let's take it one step further. We have a lot of businesses now that pretty much hire contractors, right? So they're not technically on the payroll for projects or assignments per se. So they're not literally on the books per se, but yes, they do submit an invoice, and yes, we do submit, funds payable. So there's a lot of companies now who outsource people, and they're not on the books. How does that work?
So there's a number of different programs other than the temporary wage subsidy that is aimed to support businesses. So businesses, I would encourage them to check through a number of areas where we're providing additional flexibility. Businesses should check the websites of Export Development Canada, Development Canada, Farm Credit Canada, and the Canada account. These are different areas where businesses can go to support that would help them keep their businesses afloat. For example, we are providing $10 billion in credit support, and that's through the Business Credit Availability Program. And that's just one example. For example, where we are giving liquidity, giving access to credit for businesses so that during this time they have access to money. Another example is for our farmers and food producers, right? We are supporting them through Farm Credit Canada, and we're providing an extra $5 billion in lending capacity. That injection of money to support business will give them more breathing room, allow them to better manage their cash flows, because right now a lot of businesses aren't pulling in the revenues that they typically would be pulling in. So this is another change that we're doing. So there's different programs for different industries, and I would encourage businesses, if they're interested in those, to reach out to any of those federal departments that I mentioned, and of course to contact their local MP, because we also can help link them up with specific programs that are available.
Well, I appreciate that. Are there people on the line to answer the phone or any questions that people may have? I know they're probably swamped if that is the case. Is there people in place right now to handle this?
Absolutely. Yes. Right now there are a lot of people trying to access different programs. The good thing is that some of these programs are automatic, particularly the ones for the individuals, right? Your Canada Child Benefit, for example, you're getting it already, you're just going to see more money. Your GST tax credit, if you're already eligible and receiving that, you're going to see more money. If you have a Canada student loan, for example, we put a moratorium, a 6-month moratorium on repayments. You're going to see that automatically. For the other measures, there are different ways to apply for them, and I encourage first and foremost companies to look at the public information online, and you will see that information there in terms of the steps they need to take. So that's a good place to start. And of course, there are phone numbers typically that are posted there. I encourage them to contact the departments directly or to reach out to the local MP's office. If you're in our riding, feel free to give me a call. I'm here to support you. My team is here. We're on standby. We're ready to take calls and to help us, because this is a difficult time, and we want to make sure our community is supported.
Well, Sean, you are my MP, so Sean, here's my call, okay?
There we go.
There we go. So, in regards to, we've seen a lot of, outpouring of support from industries and to support the efforts in fighting this horrific, the COVID virus and 19 virus. So for companies who are interested, how can these companies be mobilized to fight this virus?
That is a fantastic question. And first of all, I just have to say it's been so heartening because there are so many people out there doing their part. And one of the great things is that we have seen companies step up. Some clothing company manufacturers are now switching to produce masks. For example, there are breweries that have switched from producing alcohol to producing alcohol-based hand sanitizers. And these are some of the examples of businesses in our country that are really stepping up and doing great work. There are other companies that do more. I talked about, the local restaurant, which it was so heartening to see Sarah Van Abavin. They're mobilizing meals for frontline healthcare workers at the Scarborough Hospital. And a number of other organizations have approached me to say that they want to donate masks and other medical supplies and equipment. So I encourage any business that wants to help in the procurement of supplies, medical supplies and equipment to support our healthcare system to connect with Public Service and Procurement Canada. We have a website that is set up. If people are interested, please contact my office. I can send you the link. And that website allows you to register so that we can coordinate efforts centrally. We need to make sure that hospitals and the communities that need it the most are receiving these supplies and equipment, especially as the numbers of COVID-19 cases are increasing. Same time, locally here in Scarborough North, we're mobilizing. We're collecting medical supplies and devices for the Scarborough Hospital. They've given out a call for these donations. So if you have anything that you want to donate, I encourage you to come by our office. Give us a call first or send us the email first. We're happy to collect these supplies, ensure that they get to our local hospital. And, of course, first and foremost, I say to everybody, we got to stay safe and we got to stay healthy. It's a very difficult time for us, and we got to make sure we take care of ourselves first and foremost.
That's absolutely right. And in regards to, please do provide that link for us so we can actually put it on there as well.
Absolutely. We will send that to you right away.
Just a question, just off the top of my head here. What, with all the phone calls and the outreach, people have been reaching out to your office and many other offices. I'm sure you all talk together as well. What is maybe the number one request people are asking for? Like, what are they looking for? What has been the most common question, I believe, if you want to put it that way? What's the concern of theirs that you've been getting time and time and time and time again?
Yeah, Deanne, this issue is so complex and it's affecting people in different ways that the range of questions has been quite big. I would say one of the things that I would like to share is that we've had a few families approach us because they have family members who are abroad and they're trying to get back home. So one of the things that I always tell constituents is to make sure that Canadians abroad register with Global Affairs Canada. There is a website or registration service for Canadians abroad. They should register immediately if they haven't already. What that allows us to do is to know who is out there, which Canadians are out there, to provide them with information that is specific to their situation. So, for example, we've had a number of people in Morocco, and just this past weekend, Air Canada has operated a special flight to bring back Canadians from Morocco, and there are more flights that were scheduled because Air Canada recognized there were so many Canadians that needed to get back home. We're working very closely right now with our air providers, with our airlines, and we are making sure that where there is a concentration of Canadians, and especially when there is no local air service or there's restrictions on travel, that we prioritize those locations. So flights are being organized, for example, for Peru, for Spain, Ecuador, El Salvador, and we're doing our best right now to get Canadians home. Our foreign minister, Minister Shan, is working very closely with counterparts all across the country, and hoping that we can have a coordinated effort to prioritize Canadians that are abroad. But the first and foremost thing is to ensure those Canadians are registered so that they get the immediate information as soon as it's available. We're also working on ensuring that those who may not have access to resources for those commercial flights, that we are providing an emergency loan program. So again, Canadians should register with Global Affairs. And to speak to your concern, Deanne, yes, we have been getting a lot of Global Affairs Canada, for example, has reported to us that on average they are getting 8,000 emails and 6,000 calls per day from Canadians abroad who need help. And that's why we have tried to make it electronic as much as possible. Once they register, they're on the radar and they will be provided with the most up information.
I appreciate that, and this is just not because of this. This is common practice. I've always said time and time again, if anybody is leaving the country, that they really should register. And this is for safety as well, and this is for fraud and for safety, and I'm all about that, Shan. But people really should know, in case something happens, go to your closest consulate office to let people know what's going on, because most countries have a representative or a consulate office in that area to represent, let's say, Canada in this case, right? But that's just common practice.
Absolutely, and that's a really good point. Whenever you're traveling, you should register with Global Affairs. But Deanne, and I know that a lot of Canadians don't, right? They go on vacation, they hop on the plane, and they don't bother to register with us, especially right now when we have, this is, in fact, Deanne, the largest repatriation effort in Canadian history during a time of peace. It's the largest effort ever. So now more than ever, we need Canadians to register so that we know where they are and we can do our best to repatriate them.
And absolutely, and everybody has to do their part, or somebody who knows somebody to do their part as well, right?
Absolutely.
Definitely so.
Absolutely.
In regards to what could Canadians do to help stop the spread of this virus?
So very simply, it's what we have been saying, what our local health officials have been saying, is that Canadians should stay home. It's why so many businesses have allowed Canadians to work from home. It's why schools are closed right now. It's because we need Canadians to stay home. And if they are going out because they need to buy necessities like food and groceries, they should practice social distancing. And when they are practicing social distancing, make sure that you are staying 6 feet away from whomever it is you're standing next to. Wash their hands. That's very important. The health officials have said very clearly that washing your hands, making sure you wash your hands diligently for 20 seconds is very, very important. And of course, when you don't have a sink or soap nearby, then hand sanitizer is your next best option. So we encourage Canadians to practice those measures to protect themselves and to protect your loved ones. It's so important that we practice social distancing and wash our hands during this time, because that is the way we can plank the curve and stop the spread of coronavirus. And for those of us who might be, in the proximity of people who have traveled, so just yesterday, in fact, our Minister of Health announced an emergency order under Canada's Quarantine Act. So any person in Canada by air, by sea, or by land, they are required by law to self-isolate for 14 days, and that's whether or not they have any symptoms. We require them by law at this. Prior to this, Canadians were encouraged, and I do believe, Deanne, that the majority of Canadians and those traveling into the country were in self-isolation. But at this point, it is a legal offense to not do so. And people can face fines. I cannot stress how serious this is. Under the Quarantine Act, there's a penalty of up to $750,000 and imprisonment of up to 6 months if people fail to comply with this emergency order. So this is quite serious. Of course, it's not something that our government wanted to impose immediately, but it's a decision that we have made because we do want to protect the safety and health of all Canadians. So moving forward, there are spot checks that would be done by government officials to verify compliance. And of course, if people have symptoms, they wouldn't be able to get on the flight in the first place. But if you're on the flight, you've gotten home, want you home, but you are required by law to self-isolate for 14 days.
And I appreciate that, because we also, they have compliance, but we also have to comply with the compliance, because at the end of the day, it's also common sense.
Absolutely.
But sometimes people believe
and why wouldn't you, right? Because typically when Canadians come home, they are living with family members. We do not want to put our family members at risk, and I believe all Canadians are cognizant of that and should be taking the appropriate steps to not only protect themselves, but their ones and those that are around them.
Well, I have to give credit to some of the local grocery stores who have the hand sanitizers, or they've marked the measurement for you for this social distancing as well at the cashiers and so forth. And some of them are hiring extra staff just to stay open to help those. I mean, it could have been worse, Shan, where we pretty much could have been, we could have had a curfew, with some places have a curfew. We're not, so we're given a little bit of freedom. We still have some freedom, but at the same time, if we don't adhere to that freedom, or the little freedom, it can be taken away.
Absolutely. And
really.
Freedom is something that we enjoy as Canadians. It's a founding principle of our country, and we've had to fight for our freedom. In times of war, we fought for that freedom, but now we're at a different war. We're at war with COVID-19, and so yes, we have to do our part to give up a little bit of that freedom. When it comes to businesses, the city makes those decisions, and what they've, from my understanding, done is to say that all non-essential businesses must remain closed at time. And so, yes, grocery stores are open, and I echo your thoughts, Deanne. We should be very thankful for those workers who continue to operate those essential businesses. People do need food. They need access to nutrition, and so those businesses are remaining open. But we are there. I think each of us should take responsibility for ourselves and to give up some of that freedom. Make sure you make a list and know exactly what you're. When you go in there, pick up what you need and then leave. Right? We need people to. It's not a time to go and shop the aisles and check out what's on sale. It's time to really know that you should be there with a purpose. That purpose should be to grab what you need and then get out of there, literally. So we can all be safe, and that's the price we're paying. But it's a price that's worth it. There are people dying, and there are businesses shutting down, and there are people losing their jobs, and we don't want to see this continue down that road. And that is why we all need to give up a little bit of our freedom, that we can have brighter days ahead.
And definitely so as well, because I know the supermarkets are sort of limiting how many people go in there as well. And of course, I mean, I just can't end this conversation without talking about the toilet paper crisis. Like, is that what's happening with that? Because I believe that's the only thing that's missing from the supermarkets and the stores now. We have milk, we have eggs, everything, but it's a toilet paper. Those essentials, is that ever going to, I know you can't answer the question, but that's the number one thing. Who would believe toilet paper would be the talk of the town? I mean.
Yes, Deanne, I was quite surprised myself. And it's unfortunate that, especially in the early days when the crisis was unfolding, a lot of those essential items were hoarded. And it's unfortunate, too, that some of the people who hoarded them were making a quick buck off of selling and reselling them at higher prices, in some cases ridiculous prices. But at the end of the day, I do empathize with Canadians. This is a time where everyone's feeling anxious. Everyone is worried. Everyone is concerned, not just about their job, but maybe about their family members and their survival, and most importantly about our health, our individual health of people around us. So in times of crisis, in times of anxiety, people react differently, and that might be buy extra and buy more. But at the end of the day, I think we've all learned from this lesson, and we should all be cognizant to buy what we need. And that's what we're trying to encourage individuals to buy what you need, because there's plenty there. However, if we are hoarding, then we're going to disrupt the supply. So we need to buy what we need and know that we're all in this together.
I agree, and the funny thing is, people don't understand that they're buying up the things that they don't really need, and the produce, the fresh produce is actually there. It's more cost effective too, and of course it's healthier at the same time. And definitely we don't know what's to come. Right. It's a wake-up call for us, socially, mentally, financially, spiritually. Everybody is running to figure out, okay, if I pray more and so forth, and we have nothing against that. I'm a spiritual person as well. But the fact is, it brings us back to a place of compassion, humbleness, humanitarian, and the fact that we don't know what's going to come next, but at least we have a taste of what can happen. Yes. So next time something happens, there are things in place about resilience and so forth, where we know that, okay, we've done this before, we've gone through this before, we've had a few different things happen to us in the past, but we were very lax about it, but not to shut down the world, literally to cripple the world in the knees. So I appreciate everybody, what they're doing, their part, your part, and so forth. If you could just quickly share with us some of the links of the contact again, and then we could just give you final thoughts and wrap this up.
Absolutely. So Canadians can go online. There is a website set up by our federal government. It's www.canada.ca/coronavirus. And on that website, they will find the latest updates. So the number of cases in Canada, that information is updated on a daily basis. There are links to resources on how Canadians can identify symptoms, for example, of COVID-19, things that they can do to prevent COVID-19, social distancing, isolating themselves, and proper hand washing and hygiene. There is travel information for Canadians that's posted there, and more information about Canada's response. With respect to individual programs and services that are available to both Canadians as individuals and I encourage Canadians to look, and particularly for businesses, to check the various government sites for Export Canada, Business Development Canada, Farm Credit Canada, and as well, they are looking to apply for a specific program. Feel free to contact their local MP office, and of course, if you're in Scarborough North, feel free to contact us here. My email is info@shanchen.com, and our phone number here is 416-321-CHEN. 2436. So I encourage people to contact us. We're available to link you up. Many different programs that are available for. If you're an individual, a lot of those benefits are going to come automatically, whether it's the Canada Child Benefit or the GST tax credit or the moratorium on repaying Canada student loans. But of course, we're still available here to provide information, and I encourage Canadians to give us a call.
And honestly, in my opinion, I truly believe I was thinking about this morning, is that we're in the eye of the storm. I'm going to call it that way, where it's a little bit calmer than, before. I believe things are sort of calming down a little bit to a certain degree. It's just that, we just got to wither and ride out the rest of the storm.
Yes.
Or the hurricane, because things are being put into place. And yes, just probably believe that we should have acted faster and we should have learned from other countries and so forth. However, the reality is, this is what it is. It's reality is reality. So if you could just share your final thoughts with us, Shan, before we go, I would really appreciate that.
I just want to thank you, Deanne, for having this conversation with me. It is so important for all Canadians, for businesses and individuals to be cognizant and aware. We have to act now, have to continue what Canadians have been practicing, which is good hygiene, social distancing, self-isolation, hand washing. These are so important to stop the spread of COVID-19. And while Canadians are doing a great job, we need to continue to reinforce that, because there are still some people who are not practicing these measures, and we need to do that now for our collective safety and our collective health. Our government is here. We're here to support. Working around the clock as my team, and we've been making sure that are providing Canadians with support that they need. That's why we put in that program, $107 billion at this point in emergency relief for Canadians, and we're going to continue to monitor the situation. So I just want to say a big thank you to all the local stakeholders, all the businesses who have stepped up to help, all the Canadians, individuals that have phoned in and expressed their support. We're here for everyone. We're here to work together. This is a crisis that we will get through, but it's one that we will get through our collective resiliency and support for one another. So thank you so much, Deanne, for having me here. And of course, I just want to encourage the people of Scarborough North to call us if we can be of any assistance.
And I thank you, Shan, and I thank your team and everyone for helping us arrange this. And I do invite you, and I hope you will take me up on that offer and to follow up with us for the next week or so in regards to maybe a follow-up of what's happening.
Absolutely.
Again, and I want to say I appreciate everyone for what they're doing, and I want to thank you, Shan, for basically spending this time with us to give us an update from the federal side, of course touching a little bit on the local side of it, because at the end of the day, we don't want everybody to be calling everyone. Again, go to your local MP or your MPP or whoever you're comfortable with as well, because there's always help. And for those who know, the families, we feel for you, but you're pretty much secure. For the businesses, please do, I encourage you to find the right information resources, because I don't want to hear your businesses close. I don't want to see your businesses close. At the end of the day, we're all here to make the economy a better place to live for our families as well. And we have so much to share and so much to learn. So I want to say, learn from this, be smart about it, be safe and protect yourselves, protect your families, and just protect yourself in general. And hopefully this will have opened up a lot of information for you, and you've learned a lot of lessons along the way. And I look forward to, Shan, thank you again, and I look forward to chatting with Shan and keeping you posted and updated on everything that's going on. So until then, this is Deanne and Shan saying goodbye, And have a great day, everyone. Thank
Thank
you.
you, Deanne. Stay
You're
healthy and safe.
welcome.
Bye.
You as well, Sean. Thank you. And I want to shout out to Shan, our MP for the Scarborough North riding, and his team who has put this together. And I want to say, Sean, on the federal side, I know everything comes from the federal side, and we have so many questions. And we did our best to bring this for everyone today, and we will continue to update you. We will continue to have Sean update you by checking on his website, checking all the resources he provided. And I want to say to each and every one of you, again, be smart about what you do. Be smart about where you go. Take this time to spend time with family and get back together in what you want to do in life, and just put a whole new perspective in life. So I want to say I will continue to do my best to update you with Sean and his team. And if there's any questions or concerns, so certainly feel free to give us a call or even contact his office, and I'll do my best. But until next time, be safe and protect yourself, and thank you.